All right, guys. Well, this is pretty much the end of 2025 and definitely the fastest year I have ever experienced in my whole life. Whole 20 years of living, 2025 was gone just like that. Started off very strong and then it just, I don't know, for me at least, 2025 was probably the worst year also. Started off strong, was terrible, and then kind of towards the end, it was like I guess the last few months it was pretty good. I don't know, I really like the fall and winter time and a lot of things were going on anyways that kind of helped me. So, and apologies in advance, but I am a little bit sick, so my voice might be breaking a little bit or I just sound different, but I like to do these kind of every year, kind of do a recap or kind of talk about some things, and then throughout the whole year I'll kind of let some things happen and not really talk about it, and then next year I'll kind of make videos on it, like, oh, back in this year, this time this happened, right? And that's kind of what I've been waiting for. But overall, 2025 definitely, and with it ending, it's a little bit bittersweet because of just kind of how much of a roller coaster this year was. And I'll kind of start off with this. 23 and 24 were amazing. I loved 2024, and 23 was pretty good. That was really, I don't know, it's also nostalgic, but I still kind of felt like life was still a bit real, and I kind of felt, I mean, I was 18, 19, but hitting 20 was different for sure because it changed a lot, but I still kind of felt not alive, obviously, but I guess a different feeling. And the thing with that was there was also, I think, a lot more hype, and it was kind of where I guess I felt closer with people, and in general, I was going out and doing a lot. And then kind of this year has been a lot less, and if anything, it's been more negative, which I don't like to talk negative, but it's just really how 2025 went. But started off strong, January, February. It was like snowing in February, a little bit of January, and had some friends over, and yeah, we had a lot of fun, made some good videos, and we did like a New Year's thing. And I was making some like vlogs on my second TikTok where I was actually going to like food carts and like doing videos for them, and that was so fun, and it did really good. So I need to do more of that on my second TikTok, which I totally could, but I just been kind of spacing it because I have so many different channels, and I really enjoy my other channel on TikTok because I get to do whatever I want versus like my self-improvement on TikTok doesn't do the best, but I use it more for editing, and then when I post on YouTube, YouTube does really good with my self-improvement stuff. So maybe I have potential for kind of my channel here where it's me talking about stuff, and then my other TikTok for actually going out traveling, or I actually bought a lot of equipment to make cinematic videos. So anyway, so that was kind of January and February, and also before that in March, the very beginning of March, I was going to leave for a big Europe trip. So it was kind of like almost a canon event those first 2 months. And yeah, at the time, like met some people and whatnot. And I don't really, sorry, I don't really talk about like my relationship stuff unless it's like, I don't get too personal, but if it's for more like things you can learn or beneficial or kind of like, I don't know, something worth talking about, and I will, because I have some really good like stuff and experiences to talk about that I don't really do because I kind of started doing that in the beginning of the channel, and those were actually some of the best videos that did really good. So for the 2026, kind of going into that year, I can really talk about it now and kind of analyze it and stuff, and just kind of share experiences that will be really helpful for you guys and maybe that you can relate to. But how to relationship then, and I was seeing them before in the time before my Europe trip. Then in Europe, so we went in March, and also during that time, one of my closest friends, he was also going, out of state, so everybody was leaving, right? And that's kind of, that's what I was saying, it was kind of like a canon event. So everybody was leaving. And when we first got in Europe, so I went to, oh my gosh, we went to France, Spain, Germany. Well, my family and we went to France and Spain, but I went to Germany, Bulgaria on accident, Macedonia, and you could technically say Albania, but you know, there's a lot of history with that. And it was really nice, and I've had some amazing experiences, and I met some of the best people that in my life actually that really actually changed a lot of things for me that I just think is very unique, because I generally travel a lot and I've been to a pretty fair amount of countries, but a lot of them was also when I was younger. But being older, kind of being on the mindset I have now and traveling the world and meeting people, and even before I traveled, I was saying how much of the West and the Western society is a joke and America's all failed in the people, and which is very true. And it's harsh to say, like, in America, there's a lot of great things about it. I mean, if you have, let's say, the money, or I mean, that's pretty much it. It's basically the money, and there's a lot of beautiful places here in America, but generally when it comes to a lot of other things like societal stuff or kind of culturally or just people, or kind of how the Western civilization, I'll say, is kind of heading, is really bad. And people, in my personal opinion, I think it's too late to save any of it. I think the road is already leading to Rome. But I was saying how much other countries are actually, they laugh at us and how much of a joke America is, and they're just all talk, which is, there's more than enough evidence for that. Went and traveled the world, and it was even more than I was expecting. And the amount of hospitality I had from people I've never met in my life was like, these people felt like family. And maybe I met them first day and we were just like that, no matter the age or the type. And you know, there's always bad eggs, but personally, with my experience, it was just unbelievable. It was outstanding. And as I was saying earlier, when I went to Bulgaria on accident, it's because we had an emergency landing. When I was trying to land in Skopje in the Macedonian airport, we had to make an emergency landing to Bulgaria, which is only 20 minutes away in Sofia. And it was crazy. So we were on Lufthansa, and they're German pilots. Those guys are amazing, outstanding. I'll say this again, bro. Any European, Asian airlines make American Airlines look like absolute trash. It's like, I know I'm not gonna try to be shitting on American like stuff, but it's kind of the truth. Anyway, we're on Lufthansa, and the German pilot, I swear to God his name was Hans. I swear to God it was him and some other pilot. I don't remember the other guy's name, but they have certain safety regulations. And so in Skopje, it's very windy because of the mountains surrounded by it. So we tried to land 3 times, but we couldn't because of how bad the conditions were. And I remember people were going to throw up there, and the lights were flickering, and they were all scared and stuff. I was sitting between 2 guys. One guy was playing games on his phone. The other guy, apparently he was a really important government person for like Macedonia, and I didn't know it at the time. But we're just sitting there, and like some people were like gonna throw up next to me, and I was like, oh my God. And it smelled really bad because sitting by, like, people were like freaking out and they were sweating and throwing up, whatever. And I remember the first time when we were going down, and I was on so many flights because of how freaking bad, like, and before this flight, actually, I had to cancel because we were in Frankfurt, Germany. So I was actually solo in Germany too at the time. So I was flying so much, and I was like hella sick. I got jet lag. I was so pale as a ghost. And so I was on this plane's going down, and it's just crazy turbulence, and he tries to land, and it was so bad he had to pull up. He did it 3 times. And when he did, oh my God, like your whole stomach would drop and you feel like everything was gonna get spit out. And I was stuck in the middle between these guys. I was literally crammed in, and oh my God, it was nuts. And then when we had to land, we went 20 minutes to Sofia, and then we landed, we got off. It was fun. I got a couple of videos actually, but I wish I did get more videos on my Europe trip. But anyway, we landed, we got in Bulgaria. It was like 2 a.m. My parents were freaking out. My mom thought I was getting kidnapped or trafficked or whatever, but I happened to meet some really good people, and we went to the Bulgarian airport. Bro, I felt like I was in like 1980s or 90s Soviet Union era, and it was amazing actually. And all the airport guys and the security, they had the old like kind of Soviet like Bulgarian like green uniforms. They had like the pistols. They were probably like Makarovs or the old like Russian pistols. It was so freaking cool. And I remember being with the whole group, and the crazy thing is everyone stuck together. They're trying to figure out the answers, and everyone was trying to help each other. And most of the people were either Macedonians, Albanians, and even actually some Chinese businessmen. And I'll say this is funny. Every single country, every crack of the corner of Earth, there's always going to be some Chinese people, and mostly they're businessmen in suits, briefcases. Like, I'm telling you, bro, I don't know if they're sleeper cells or they're taking over, which I kind of like to see that. They're all over the countries and traveling and kind of exploring, because, I mean, versus here, and I know I'm hating on Americans again, but they're against traveling. Some Americans never even leave their state, which, I mean, that's you, but I'm telling you, traveling is life-changing, and I think everybody should travel. I really encourage everybody to travel, because it can do a lot, and you kind of get out of that small-brained, I'll say the actual Iron Curtain is USA, and you get out of that kind of garbage BS, and you kind of see what the world is, and you realize how much you're actually lied to. Anyway, so you see all these kinds of different people traveling, and there was one other person that was an exchange student from Japan. Actually, it was really cool. So we were at the airport. Everyone was in the group. The military guys were coming in. We were trying to contact Lufthansa, and we're trying to figure out what was happening. So long story short, like maybe 30 minutes or an hour later, everyone gets together and they gather taxis for us, a free taxi service. And I remember it was like, go, go. And we're like, oh my gosh. People were like, other people who knew their way around Europe, they've been like, yes, we can trust this. And, everyone got together, and I was by myself. And then there was a Macedonian family. It was a mom, an aunt, an auntie, I think, and then her daughter. Her daughter was liking me hella, bro. It was funny, bro. She was crushing on me. But anyway, the mom, she's like, hey, where are you from? Are you by yourself? And I was like, yeah, I'm by myself, and I'm from here and whatnot. And she's like, do you want to come with us? And she was so sweet. She's like, you can ride with us in the taxi, so you're not going by yourself. And they take a different turn than everyone else, and I'm gone. And so she offered that, and I said, that would be great, thank you. So we all stuck together, and they were with me the whole time, and we were talking a little bit. And the funny thing is, the Bulgarian guy, our taxi drivers, were like, listen to loud music. They were speaking Russian and some other languages. Bro, all of the freaking taxi cars were manual, and these guys were redlining and driving like crazy, bro. It felt like like I was in a Fast and Furious set, bro, like in a movie. It was insane. And we were going through the town. This was like about 3 in the morning, 3:30. And I remember looking around, and I literally felt like it was kind of the Russian Doomer vibe. It was empty streets, dark, and Russian-style buildings, and like all these different Bulgarian stuff, and then like the Russian writing of the dialect or whatever. And then it was like dark alleys and stuff, and I was like, oh my God, bro, this is nuts. But it was still really beautiful, because you could see some parts of the city in the mountains. And Bulgaria was very beautiful, actually, especially the next day when we got up in the morning. But we drove, we got to the place where we were staying. We didn't know. And then they were trying to figure it out, and they told us, I'm like, okay, it was called Princess Casino, that had really nice hotel rooms. We pulled up, I got out of the car, and I looked. It said Princess Casino. I was like, oh my fucking God. I was like, there's no way, bro. I was like, I'm going to get trafficked here, man. But the funny thing was, I wasn't like scared at all. I was actually having a lot of fun with it. And my parents were freaking. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. I kind of accepted my fate. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And it was very suspenseful. So we got there. We were going inside, and we got our luggage and stuff. And the funny thing is, they said they wouldn't charge us for some of the taxi rides. And the funny thing is, the one guys out of everybody, the 3 Chinese guys had to pay one of the taxi guys, because they were in the car just all together. So one of the drivers, and they said it does happen, one of the Bulgarian taxi drivers scammed the Chinese guys, so they had to pay money, which was so funny. But they didn't care. Those guys were freaking probably billionaires. But anyway, so we got inside, and I remember going inside the casino on the front. It was low lighting, it was very dim, and the bodyguards were like these old guys. You would think they were like Russian or Bulgarian, and they looked like freaking, they weren't like stocky, but they were like taller, but they were built, right? And like they looked like straight up hitmen or mafia. One guy was like, had like a scar across his face and stuff, bro. It was crazy. And he's just standing there like, but they were super friendly though. And there was a lot of like smoke in the room because you can smoke in the building. So like I said, it felt like an old vintage movie, right? And we were waiting in line for hours and trying to situate rooms and getting rooms. And we were talking a little bit. And then, yeah, it was really fun. I ended up getting my room and it was pretty nice. And I got some pictures of being outside. And yeah, it was interesting. I stayed up. I didn't really sleep. Got a couple hours and then we had a time to wake up the next day. And it was awkward because I wanted to talk more with that Macedonian girl, but I didn't. Plus, I was in a relationship, or so I thought at the time. But anyway, yeah, no, it was awkward because we were like going the same way, and she was like on the same floor as me. We are kind of talking a little bit, but sometimes you just know. But you know, I'm loyal, so I'm not gonna do any of that. But anyway, so the next morning we get out, we go, and we take these buses, and then I sit by a guy, and I didn't get his contact information because it was kind of like one of those moments where you don't, but maybe you see him again. And I'm telling you, this was literally fate. It was like I said in the beginning, it was a total canon event because this guy, and I'll say his name because I don't think anybody, and just for respect, normally I don't say names, but I think it's worth it. I don't know his last name, but this guy, this man named Igor, he literally potentially saved my life because he was there with me the whole way, the whole trip, and until, you know, we all departed. He helped me with everything. He taught me so much, and he made sure I felt safe. And I felt like I'm in his debt forever, so I tried to buy him some gifts and stuff, and I did, but you know, I bought a lot of stuff from the Bulgaria place in Macedonia just to kind of remember, but I mean, we stuck together like the whole way. And he taught me a lot of history, kind of stuff about the languages. And the funny thing is, when I met a lot of people, they said, "You're very smart for an American," because me and him were playing a game on the airplane, how many countries we can write down. And I'm telling you, the average European can name literally nearly every single country in the world. An American can't even find America on the map. I'm not even joking, bro. And so me and him were doing it, and I almost got him, but he got me by, I think, 15, 20 more countries. But I think he almost named all the countries in the world, and I was almost there. But we did that, and when we got to a different airport from Bulgaria to fly to Macedonia, inside of the Bulgarian airports, they had what is it called? Is it foosball? Foosball tables? Yeah. The ones where like it's the soccer guys and you play. They had that in the airport. I've never seen it anywhere. It was the best thing because everyone was together. So we were playing games of foosball. Me and him were going at it. Everyone was like hyping us and we are like being loud and laughing. It was so fun. And you didn't feel weird or awkward. You didn't feel like you were being judged, or, you know, you wouldn't feel like, I guess, uncomfortable. You felt like, oh man, I could stay here forever, you know. I don't want to leave this airport. But me and him went to the stores, we went around and we helped stick together in the group, and he told me about some of the cultural drinks they had, and I tried this like yogurt drink thing, which was really good. I have a picture of that. But yeah, I miss him. And I will go back to Macedonia. I was very much planning it in December actually, or January, but I didn't find out about my company break till way later, so I didn't get the time to book for December. And our company, how it works, it's kind of difficult to get PTO if you don't really save it up. For 1 month of your life, you only get a day off, which is terrible. So maybe I can talk to HR and get a trip to go back at sometime in January or February when it's cheap, but we'll see. Anyway, but I hope to go back, and there's so many more memories I have with Igor and stuff and all the other people that I met, and I can't forget any of their faces actually. So, but sometime I'll kind of give a more specific video on my traveling experience in Europe. But and I mean, I didn't even mention like I didn't even talk about Germany yet, or Macedonia, Spain, France. So we'll do that in another video, but I just kind of wanted to put that and just, I don't know, kind of remember what was really really life-changing for me. And I think, like I said, I'll probably save the other stuff for a relationship video, but it was kind of interesting because, so I'll just tell you guys real quick, and then in separate videos I'll talk more about it. But when I was in Bulgaria, when I had the emergency landing, and yeah, there was time zones and everything, but I remember like telling the person I was with that, you know, hey, like this happened in emergency landing and kind of whatever, and you know, I wanted to speak with them and just at least let them know I'm fine, or just to call them or talk to them. And it was kind of like completely handled like, oh, it's probably nothing, oh, it's not a big deal, like they didn't really care. And I wasn't surprised, because later, kind of towards the end of my Europe trip, the last week or 2 weeks, or yeah, last week and a half, I found out, you know, the person of about 2 years we were together, that they were actually unloyal to me and unfaithful, which was not very fun to find out during a Europe trip, but it explained a lot. So I'll kind of talk more about that in my other videos, but that's kind of partially why a lot of, you know, the end of the trip wasn't great. It's not, but I was also very sick, because the last week at Europe, I was like throwing up almost, and I was flying so much that I felt like I was gonna die. But I didn't really let that ruin my trip, but it was kind of difficult to deal with. But it's more after the fact of the trip is when kind of that stuff started occurring. But like I said, I'll keep that separate. So anyway, after Europe though, it was, and just a quick shout out to when I was in Macedonia. I miss my Albanian friends, because those guys are like brothers to me. And I've literally, even if I only met some of them for 5, 10, 15 minutes, bro, I felt like I grew up with them almost. And that's just how brotherhood is there. And it's not like here where everyone's either partying or lame, a freaking crackhead, or just doom scrolling on their phone. No personality, no life, no fun, no childhood, nothing. Like, no brotherhood, no friendship, no bonds or connections. Over there, 5 minutes, that guy's your best friend, and he would like take a bullet for you, bro. I'm not even joking. I would too. All of those guys I met, bro, I would take a bullet for any of them, any time of the day, and I wouldn't think twice about it. That's how good it was, bro. And that's how much I want to go back. So I miss those guys a lot. So I'm gonna shout out. This is an Albanian thing, so they taught me that, and I miss them. I do want to go back a lot, and if I could, I'd spend months there, bro. Because brotherhood is a powerful thing, and it's something that every man should have, and especially like, I know a lot of us here don't really get that too much, unless, you know, unless you're close with like family. I know a lot of Muslim like families and stuff, brotherhood and family's pretty tight, which is great. But generally here, and just kind of for our age or generation, and the younger generations even worse, but just kind of how, I don't really like to be negative, but just kind of how, let's say, pathetic a lot of the guys our age and range are, and they're just kind of, I was gonna say broccoli heads, or TikTok copy and paste, whatever you want to call them. There's just so many things now. No one's unique or really fun or trustworthy. So anyway, but so we got back, and that was kind of an interesting feeling. And at the time I was still working. I used to work swing shift too, and that was really a lot. And working swing shift was fun. I had great people to work with. They were like family to me. The hours were a bit crazy, so I did eventually switch. But we'll kind of talk about work stuff in another time, but I don't really talk about it. But kind of, so I'm on day shift now, but I mean, the money's less, which sucks, and we don't get paid shit. And there's a very few select of my team and people I work with on day shift that are pretty solid, that are good people. But the rest of them, they're horrible people, evil human beings, and they honestly shouldn't even be working there. And I don't even know how people get to that position, but that's just work in life. But some people are genuinely like full of hatred. But anyway, So after the trip, it was maybe almost a month, about less than a month back from Europe, and I got in a pretty bad car accident. I was very lucky to walk out alive, or in one piece, or at least unharmed, except for a concussion, but wouldn't be my sixth or seventh concussion maybe, but maybe it is. But yeah, it was pretty bad. I was really sick, and I don't normally get sick, which is funny because I'm sick now, which is like a once, twice a year thing. And the heck? Anyway, and I was really sick. I was super tired. I was on like no sleep, and I was going home early, and I was contemplating quitting work actually. I went home early, and then I went for a drive to kind of clear my head. And the weird thing was I went all the way to the beach, and it's not too far. I don't live very far from the beach, but I actually visited my old neighborhood, some of the old places I grew up in. And then I went to the beach late at night, and I was up there, and it was a full moon. It was beautiful. I actually have some pictures maybe I can put in the video in the end or something. But I remember being up there and just kind of thinking a lot about stuff and kind of clearing my head. And, I talked with the person that I was with at the time, just kind of like, I mean, it happens, but more of like just kind of closure stuff. Just kind of like, why did you do this or that or so and so, or just kind of like, I was kind of looking for answers and stuff. And thankfully, the person wasn't like, like hateful, I guess. They were more kind of, I the words like sorrowful. I don't know, but they weren't necessarily very stable either. But like I said, I'll leave that for another time. So anyways, after all of that, I come home, I'm driving, and where I live on my road, there's a really dangerous area. It's called Dead Man's Curve. It's where people, like one person I think died, and aside from me, I think 3 other people crashed, and someone I know actually went all the way down, and they luckily got out alive. But it's a really bad corner and turn. It's a blind spot, and usually if it's icy or slippery or people just don't see it, they go too fast, or sometimes deer go up and down. It's all those things. So driving home, it was like almost 3 a.m. and I was falling asleep. I was really sick. I felt so bad, and I was going too fast. What happened was I was going probably 40 in this weird corner, which you're supposed to go 20, maybe 25 max. I was spacing it, and I think I just kind of like blacked out for a second, and then I like snapped back into it, and I was near ready to go off the cliff, but I, put on the brakes as much as I, smartly as I could. When I got out of the car later, I looked, my tires were this close from going off. I was able to turn it, all-wheel drive, saved my ass, 'cause I had a pretty nice rally car back then. It was an old Subaru, had the gold wheels, exhaust system, blue Subaru. It was so nice. And it was actually my favorite car. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Even though I have a new car I'll show you guys sometime, I'd rather have my old one again. But a lot of memories in that old car. Anyway, so, but the area where it was at, it was really cold. It was not necessarily muddy, but it was kind of slick because it's gravel, but it was like this mud gravel. So it wasn't wet, but when it burns the rubber, it gets kind of slippery. So exactly what happened. And then it lost control, and then it got back control. But there was so much momentum for me going so fast and then turning it that the car went off, and it went on the right side of the ditch. So it wasn't the cliff, but it was a mound, right? And there's a little barrier kind of to let water go through. The front end hit that barrier. The car rolled on the side, and it did flips. It did rolls in the air, rolled on the side, and then landed on the driver's side of the car. So I remember being in the car like this, and my first thought was like, damn, bro. I was like, there's no way that just happened so quickly. And I just did a self-inspection on myself. I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm not bleeding. My knee kind of hurt a little bit, but that was just from lightly hitting the wheel. And then my head didn't hurt at the time because of the adrenaline. But I remember sitting there, and I was like, it was almost 5 minutes. I'm like, fuck, man, what do I do? I was just kind of like there, not super upset, just kind of more disappointed. I was like, fuck, like there's no way this just happened, right? It's like, all right, well, I guess I need to do something about it. I wasn't freaking out. I was just kind of like, I took it pretty well, but I kind of wish I got out sooner to tip the car back over, maybe to save the car. But I got on the phone with dispatch. I told the lady, and I was very lucky the dispatch she was very polite and friendly. Some dispatches are worthless, but I don't know whoever the lady is, but I'm very grateful for her help because she was great. But I remember telling her, I said, yeah, this happened, so this is where I am, and I'm stuck on the side and I need to climb out of the car to get out. And she was like, oh my God, be careful. And I remember having to climb out. I put the phone on the right side when I opened the door, and the door felt like 1,000,000 pounds because of it being on the side and the gravity. Opened the door, I was holding it, put the phone in, I started to climb out. I got out of the car, I looked at the car, I was like, oh my God. And it was kind of cold, and I looked inside the car, everything was falling out, only two windows broke, I think. Everything else was there, and then the whole undercarriage of the car was fine. But I remember waiting there and just kind of chilling, and everyone came, police came, and I was only like maybe 5-10 minutes from my house. My parents came down, and they saw me flying out of the car. My mom was a little freaking out. Well, I was just kind of standing there. I was like, oh man, and so I wanted to save that car, but I couldn't. So I hope to see it again someday. Down the road, if I could track it and kind of figure out where it is, I would want to see, even though it's probably smashing into pieces. Even to have a piece of it would be nice. But I do have some pieces somewhere of the car and a couple of things I kept, but that was probably the best car I've ever had. And if this all works out and I get money again, I'm going to rebuild that thing and I'm going to bring it back to life or find something exactly the same. So, and the funny thing is, because I genuinely drive pretty safe. Well, if I'm in a safe area, like if we go to the beach or the sand dunes, like, I'll drive and have fun, but I'll be safe. But in general, I like to drive like a grandma, especially now with the newer car. But, so that happened, and then that was pretty bad. It set me back financially, set me back with time, and I didn't have as much freedom because you don't get to go out a lot, and had to do a rental car for a bit, which really sucked. Had to find a car, which even sucked even more because the used car market here is terrible. But had to do that, and eventually found a car. It was pretty nice. Had to do some work to it, had to put some money into it, but now it's basically brand new and it's gorgeous. I'm just looking at it right now. It's another Subaru, newer year, straight pipe, exhaust system, whatever. I did the rally decals, name, Red Bull stuff, Subaru rally team, custom plate, custom lights, getting wheels and tires next, mud flaps, skid plate, rally lights again, cold air intake. I'm gonna do all that. Anyway, so I'll show you guys another time, but oh, it just sounds good though. This one definitely has the luxury and the comfort over my other one because it was an 07, but if I had to choose between this car being brand new or my 07, I'm taking the 07 right away. But anyway, so that happened, and then we did eventually get a car. Drove 6 hours, 3 hours there, 3 hours back to get it. And actually somebody did hit my new car after buying it like a month after. It was an accident. It wasn't my fault, or it was an accident on them, which is okay. And I wasn't upset at them because they didn't really see, but they hit the back of the car. It was very minimal damage, except for like some of the internals, so it did cost a little bit. And then after we fixed it, like 2 months later, in a parking lot, someone hit the back, that same spot that got hit. They lightly hit it, so it was barely any damage, but they just nicked the bumper of it. Like, my luck is crazy. Went to go to a mansion just to go check it out. We come back, and then we drive, and then we go to the store, and then we look, we're like, someone hit the car in the parking lot. So, good thing the rally stickers cover it up, but still, it's kind of like, come on, what are the chances of that, So anyway, but people in Oregon generally are stupid drivers, so. But we had that, and then not really all of it's in a time trance, but we also in 4th of July was very fun. Bought some illegal fireworks because in Oregon almost everything's illegal, so you can't have the big fireworks that shoot in the air. You have to go to a different state to get them. You can't buy them in Oregon. They're illegal, and sometimes they'll charge you $700 to over thousands of dollars of fines if you get caught lighting those fireworks. Most people don't care, but sometimes if you get that officer that's, doesn't have anything to do, they'll be like, all right, we're going to charge you this much. Which is crazy because You know, so much for America being land of the free, and then you can't light fucking fireworks. But in Portland, they allow you to have certain amounts of crack, cocaine, meth, and even sometimes fentanyl on a certain amount. If it's under that amount that they say, okay, if it's over this, you'll get in trouble. But if it's under it, you can have it. So you can have drugs in the street, but you can't light fireworks. Come on. It just tells you the logic of who's ever in political stuff. But anyway, so and the point of that is on 4th of July, or 4th of July night, and then, you know, after midnight, because it was since not even 15 minutes, we were at a beach, you know, lighting fireworks. Some crazy drunk guy, that's why I hate alcohol. Some crazy drunk guy shot at us. Could have killed one of us. There was all my brother and some of his friends and my friends. We were just lighting fireworks, having fun, you know, just shooting him. And he was really drunk. He was freaking out. He thought we were too close. When we were by the water, he was on the dry sand having a campfire. We were by the water in the wet area, so nothing would catch on fire. Even though you're at the beach, nobody was there. It was very scarce because we went to a very unpopular beach. He freaks out. He threatens to shoot us. We're like, what the frick? This guy's nuts. We start going back to the cars, and everyone else started going. I was the furthest away and the closest to him, furthest away from the cars. I was in the open. I was dead meat. And we're going like, all right, we need to go over there. You know, I was like, okay, you know, we're leaving. You know, it's all right. Well, we're sorry. We were very calm with him. All of a sudden, we hear the slide rack on his gun. It was a 45, I think he said. Yeah, there's a video because we got it on video, thankfully. He said, oh, whatever, this is a 45 and we're gonna shoot you or whatever and whatnot, or I'm gonna, you know, he threatened us. And we're like, okay, we need to go. Heard it rack, and then we're like, oh crap, we're out of here. And we were going, and then you can kind of see it, not in the video, not that well, but for us, you could see a guy, kind of a silhouette, because it was at nighttime to campfire. He's holding up a gun and the pistol. We're like, oh shit. Boom, you see it, you see the muzzle flash and you hear the shot, and they were freaking out. I was like, oh crap. But I was still trying to get to the car. You know, I was trying to get down, but I was in the open, you know, whether if I was down or up, you know, a drunk person's just gonna shoot anywhere. You know, the chances of it hitting one of the 6, 7 of us, oh God, I did 6, 7. There was, I think 6 of us though. But one of the 6 of us, I'll say, and then there was people behind us too, and that were walking on the beach. If that would have hit, that's what I'm saying. This guy was such a dumbass idiot, right? And he didn't hit us, thankfully, or anybody behind us, but so that happened. We're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, you can't even enjoy 4th of July. You can't even light fireworks and be with your friends without getting shot at by some crazy drunk person. And Americans will say, oh, those other third world countries are dangerous and they're all evil and violent. America's super safe. Let me tell you, from traveling to places where you think you'll get stabbed, I felt safer in so many countries. I felt way more taken care of and greater hospitality than anywhere in America. America is a lie and a joke. And they say it's the safest country. It's not. It's bullshit. America is a fucking lie. Anyway, so that happened. We went. They got the guy, thankfully. And, you know, I can't say anything more because it's an ongoing process, which is because our judicial system sucks and criminals get away with a lot. But we're going to make sure, you know, the right amount of justice is done because that's what that guy deserves because of something stupid like that. But I can't say anything more because it's ongoing, so that's the most I can say. So that happened. Down the road, summer was okay, went out and did some stuff, and then I think to kind of wrap this video up for the recap of 2025 is the reason why I say the end was the best, because when I switched to day shift, I got in a good sleep schedule. I've been eating really healthy. I've been going to the gym a lot more often than I used to, especially because now when I was doing the gym in school, we kind of have a decent gym, but now that I can pay for a membership, I can go. And that I'm also been looking for Muay Thai gyms, because I used to do Muay Thai and kickboxing, but that gym shut down during COVID and after, which sucked. But it wasn't the greatest gym, but it was the only really Muay Thai thing that was close, because everything else was in very far away from me, and I would only be able to go a couple times a week, and then it'd be like $200-300 a month, so it's not even worth it. So I might have found one, but got to go to some nice places, and I'm really happy because, you know, a lot of things for this year have been, towards the end, been going really well, and I really kind of narrowed things out, you know, organized, kind of, I'm still working on like a lot of things, but I've been kind of putting my wardrobe more specific, kind of wearing more nicer, well-dressed clothes or luxury, or kind of more of, I like to wear black a lot, so I'm kind of doing more of an all black kind of setup where it's old money or classy, or if it's luxury or modern. Trying to either, like, I have my casual, fancy, modest, all the kind of stuff, suits, whatever, kind of that Bruce Wayne style. And then just been kind of getting everything together, putting some things away, and kind of really ending the chapter of, I guess in 2025 was a chapter in my book of life that I can kind of put to an end because it was so much shit. So I don't normally do New Year's resolutions, but it just kind of, the timing of it is kind of that way. So that's why it's kind of a good thing for me. But I just want to put 2025 as, it was crazy, it was fun, it was miserable and very painful, it's bittersweet, and I've learned a lot. So 2025 was more of a learning thing, learning from mistakes or trials and errors or decisions or maybe things that were fair or unfair. So I learned so much from that. And I'm going to miss a lot of things. I met people that I probably won't get to see again ever, and some people that maybe I will get to maybe once more, and people I'll also be able to see again more often. But yeah, I'm happy to be more consistent with videos, and I'm hoping 26 really has a huge kind of shift, a title shift, I'll say, or a change. I wouldn't be surprised if it wouldn't, just because of how our generation is and how stupid a lot of, I hate so much about my generation, in age, just how unmotivated and undisciplined, and they're just not very, I'm not saying all of them, I don't like to be hateful, but it's kind of the truth. It's almost like a lot of people are just subhumans now. But I'm hoping for a huge change, and I'm hoping that I can meet a group of people where we can all be successful and work as a team, because it's just been being stuck with the same nothing or incompetence or lies, or people just talk, but it's nothing really, or it's just people are selfish, or no one really cares. You know, more people are stuck in their phones than they are with each other. So I've been soloing it a lot. Haven't really gone on dates. I had opportunities to meet more people, and I guess women specifically, or even, I don't do hookup culture, but it was there for me, but it was very easy to resist because it's not something I'm into anyway. So didn't really get into relationships. Talked to some people, met some really good people though, and some particular like good females and stuff that was kind of refreshing to talk with them. But it was kind of, again, I'll put it in another video, but not something where I feel like I'm not really soul tied with any of them. And I have some really good lessons with all of that for you guys later, but yeah, so I'm gonna miss it. Today's the 31st of December, 2025, and I can't believe it. It's a lot to look back on. Oh, there's a freaking hawk up there. That's sick. What's he doing? It's like a baby hawk. He's just flying up there. You guys see it? He's like idle. Is that a baby hawk or something else? Nah, never mind. It's like a sparrow. Never mind. Or a swallow, I mean. Sparrow or swallow. It looked like it, because it's kind of big. Anyway, don't ask me how I know that. It's because I used to shoot a lot of birds up here. But, oh shit, there's the house. It's actually cold. Cold as hell. So I guess let's wrap it up. And I'll have more things to say kind of about this year. And I'll obviously have different bits and pieces on my different videos, kind of what I learned or more experiences, traveling and relationship stuff. But I'm going to miss 25, and like I said, it's a love and hate thing. But 10 years from now, I will always look back at 2025 as one of like a big kind of change in years, and kind of like an era, almost putting an end to an era. I guess the beginning of a new beginning. I don't know if you want to put it that way. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and I'll probably add more stuff later, because there's 100,000 more things that happened in 25 that I didn't even talk about, because this video would be hours. Maybe in a live stream and some other videos too, but absolutely insane year. And if nostalgia won't kill me, then I don't know, because nostalgia really hits for me. And I'll show you guys the car real quick. Why not? So this is it. And people say, oh, don't show your license plate. Well, it's a custom plate, so I don't care. Not bad. Still got a lot of work to do though. But yeah, pretty sick. So let me show you guys the back. See, I gotta get the wheels and tires because those really are lame. Got a shog over there. Yeah, not bad. Has a full straight pipe. I don't have the keys on me, so I can't start it up, but maybe next time. So I'll see you guys on the next one, and yeah, I'm gonna miss this a lot, and I'm excited for the new year and to let's try and hit 5,000 subs in 26. I'll be so happy. And if I'm only making, let's say 1,000, 1,500 a month, but I can do this, I'd be so happy, and I'd be living in a different country. All right, I'll see you guys. All right, peace.